Well, as leaders, we know that we make our decisions and then our decisions make us. Today, I want to help you make better leadership decisions tomorrow by thinking ahead today. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. For those of you that are new to our leadership community, we drop a new teaching on the first Thursday of each month, then a bonus episode on many Thursdays. But guess what? This is not a Thursday because we're doing something different to celebrate something that matters a lot to me. Today is the release day for my new book called Think Ahead: 7 Decisions You Can Make Today for the God-Honoring Life That You Want Tomorrow. What's it about? Well, we all want to be good decision makers, but a lot of times we don't make great decisions in the moment, do we? We eat more than we should. We say things we shouldn't say. We do things we didn't want to do. This book, I believe, will help you to make better decisions when you think ahead, and we're actually going to pre-decide ahead of time 7 decisions that will help you honor God in the way that you live. To be clear, this book is written from a Christian perspective. And what I want to do, because I'm so excited about release day, is I want to give you, our leadership community, a very special free gift. In this episode, I'm sharing a portion of my favorite section of the audio book with you. And if you'd like to hear more, you can order the audio version, or you can pick up a copy of the book Think Ahead on Amazon or wherever you get your books. So if you're ready, let's think ahead and dive in. Chapter 6:3. Start with why. I want to get you thinking about your what. But more important, first we need to talk about your why. A weak what can detour your pursuit of your goal. A weak why will keep you from pursuing it in the first place. A weak what is a problem. A weak why is a deal killer. Your why is your first and most important domino. You've got to start with why. Right now, you're wondering, what? I'll explain with an example. So many people want to get into better shape, but don't have enough motivation. That's only one of their obstacles. Another, their goal or their what isn't clear. What does it mean to be in better shape? To a bride-to-be, it means looking good in her wedding dress. To her future groom, it might mean looking good with her by the pool on their honeymoon. To the groom's best man, it could mean bigger biceps. To the bride's maid of honor, it might be smaller thighs. To the mother of the bride, it might be getting her hormones aligned. To the father of the groom, it might mean getting his cholesterol down. Not only do you need to be clear on what you want to accomplish, but you also need to know why it's important. You might have a what, but not a clear why. I get it. About 15 years ago, I was working out at the gym when my buddy Bart walked in. Bart has a kind of physique that makes most guys not want to show their faces, or more specifically, their bodies at the gym. At the time, I had what Amy affectionately called a dad bod. I told her I preferred father figure, but she called it a dad bod. Bart had what I call a, wow, I really wish I had ripped muscles and abs like that bod. So, tell me about your workout, dude, I asked Bart, trying not to sound pathetic. Looking back, I'm guessing people ask him that question no fewer than 43,832 times a day. He clearly had a strategy and responded, why are you asking? Not prepared for the classic question, counter-question move, I hesitated. I looked down at my feet, which were also not in great shape, and muttered, you know, bro, like I just want to get in better shape. Little did I know that I stepped right into his trap. Smiling, as if he enjoyed the hunt, Bart asked, and what exactly do you mean by get in better shape? Still off balance, I tried to look confident and responded, you know, get toner. My voice trailed off at the moment I said toner. Why did I say toner? Then my friend went for the jugular. That's great that you want to focus on your fitness, he paused, ready to set the hook deeper. But why? 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 What did he mean by why? Why was he asking me? Why? Why does anyone want to get into better shape? Why does he feel the need to know why? Wasn't it enough just to kind of want to be better? Bart taught me two unforgettable lessons. Number one, if you aren't clear on your what, you'll never accomplish it. You cannot do what you do not define. Number two, if your why isn't strong enough, you won't accomplish your what. Why? Pun intended. Because your why drives your what. We need to start with why. Why did Daniel pray consistently? He was devoted to God. That led his decision to connect with the heart of God 3 times a day. Let's talk about New Year's resolutions. Why do so many people start with good intentions but fail to follow through? A study of 800 million Americans found that New Year's resolutions die on average by January 19th. The reason? Their resolutions are the result of desire, not devotion. A desire can feel strong, but it's typically shallow and fleeting. Devotion to a why goes deeper, and without a compelling why, you are not likely to stay consistent. Why do I say most New Year's resolutions are the result of desire, not devotion? Because New Year's resolutions start on the new year. Think about it. You waited until January 1. You had a moment when you thought, I should lose 10 pounds, or I want to quit smoking, or I ought to start exercising, or maybe it's time to get an emotional support lizard. So you decided on January 1st. The day you felt that desire might have been September 29th or November 4th, but you put off acting until January 1st. Why did you wait? Because you didn't have a strong enough why. If you had a real why, you wouldn't have thought, on January 1st, I'm going to start eating well, but until then, I'm going to eat anything and everything. And yes, you'll choose the salad on January 1st, but by January 19th, you're back to cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs for breakfast, fettuccine Alfredo for lunch, and chocolate cake for dinner. Why did your resolution fail? Your why was not compelling enough. If you have a legit why, you wouldn't wait until January 1st, right? If your doctor tells you in October that you have severe diabetes and need to stop eating sugar or you'll die, you won't say, okay, then Ben & Jerry's ice cream for the next 3 months, then I'll quit when it's a new year. No, you'd have a strong why, and it would compel you to decide to be consistent now. If you want to grow in consistency, start with why. What change do you want to see in your life? You might want to be closer to God, have a better marriage, quit a bad habit, have closer friendships, or more financial stability. Great, all good things. But why? What is your why? You have to start with why. If not, you'll start strong, but struggle with follow-through again. Just like my praying with Amy, I had to get past my what to my why. So, what's your why? Why power over willpower. Typically, when we make commitments, we rely on willpower to keep them consistently. The problem is, as we learned in chapter 1, is that willpower wanes. So, when our decision meets resistance, and there will always be resistance, our willpower will eventually give out and we cave. That's why we pre-decided to do this instead. Shift from willpower to why power. A strong why will make all the difference. You'll find that your why trumps excuses and defeats detractors. If you want to become more consistent, define your why. Go deep, pray, look within, tap into your passion, start with why. Chapter 6.4, plan to fail. Now, when it comes to my body and my physical health, my why drives my what. Because of that why power, I now have a clear what. A targeted weight range, a targeted hormone range, a target for each of my vitals, types of food I do and don't eat, times of day I eat and don't eat, the amount of food I eat, types of snacks that are always on hand. I have an amount of water to drink and when. Hint, too late in the day and I'll get up 3 times a night. I have a clear what. I have a pre-decided what to eat, what not to eat, and how to maximize my body to perform at the highest level. What's my why? I'll tell you what it's not. I'm not planning to compete in the 50 and over pastors bodybuilding division. My why is to honor God with my body. No matter my age, I will be faithful to strengthen the body God gave me so I can serve him with all my mind, soul, and strength. Am I living this out perfectly? Of course not. Why? I'm human. I don't plan to be perfect. I plan to fail, and I would encourage you to as well. If you want to succeed, plan to fail. I know that seems counterintuitive and may even sound contradictory, but it's true. One reason we fail in our commitments is because we don't plan to fail. Perfectionism is a roadblock to great decision-making. If you focus on the potential to make mistakes, it's easy to give up or not try. As Ryan says in The Office, I'm such a perfectionist that I'd kind of rather not do it at all than do a crappy version. The problem with perfection is it's not possible. What holds us back isn't perfection, but the illusion of perfection. We demand perfection of ourselves and assume everybody else is perfect. But the reality is no one is doing anything perfectly. Psychologists consider an all or nothing mindset as a debilitating cognitive distortion that impedes great decision making, and too often we're held back by it. When we fail, we think of ourselves as a failure. I failed, so forget it, I quit. No, there's a big difference between being consistent and being perfect. You're going to fail. Everyone fails. That means you won't be perfect. But your goal is not perfection. Your goal is consistency. You're wise to plan to fail and give yourself grace when you do. That way, you can keep going and stay consistent. Since Amy and I started praying together consistently, I've spoken to people who ask me for advice on it. Others ask for advice on praying with their kids. I always offer 3 things. Number 1, keep it simple. Number 2, keep it short. Number 3, if you miss one day, don't miss 2. Why keep it simple? Because if you make it complicated, you probably won't do it. Why keep it short? Because if the goal seems intimidating, you won't do it. Do you have to keep it short? No, you can pray as long as you want to, but your odds of praying long go up if your standard is to pray short. Keep the bar low at first to get you started and to make showing up a success. Why do I say if you miss a day, don't miss 2? Because you are going to miss a day. You'll have that crazy day when your water heater dies, or your mother calls and asks you to explain how to use the confusing app on her phone again, or your air guitar band finally makes it to the quarterfinals. Plan on missing a day. Praying with Amy, I have given myself permission to miss occasionally. I need that because I will miss occasionally. When it happens, I realize it's part of the process and make sure I don't miss 2 days. 1 day is an exception, no big deal. 2 or 3 is a pattern. So if you miss 1 day, don't miss 2. The illusion of perfection can keep us from getting started. We think, I'll never be able to do it right, so I might as well not even try. No, we're not trying to be perfect, but we can be consistent. I began taking jiu-jitsu classes with my sons. It's very challenging to get a higher ranking belt in jiu-jitsu. You start with a white belt, then earn blue, then purple, then brown, then black. In between each belt, you receive stripes along the way. On the 5th stripe, you get a belt promotion. My instructor asked me, which belt do you think is the most difficult to get? I answered, obviously, the black belt. He said, no, the most difficult belt to get is the white belt because most people never start. So true. And that's exactly where I've been for years. I wanted to do jiu-jitsu, but I was afraid I was too old or wouldn't be good enough. He then asked, "What is a black belt?" I said, "That's someone you run from." I thought that was a good answer. I'd trained with several guys that were black belts. They were lethal. You run from them. He didn't laugh when he said, "No, a black belt is a white belt that was consistent." Ah, I like that. A black belt is a white belt who refused to give up. After hearing that, guess how many lessons I missed? The answer rhymes with hero. Until I was injured. Of course I was injured. I'm in my mid-50s, rolling on a sweaty mat with 20-something guys who look like a cross between a pit bull and a Mack truck. Do you know what happened after I got injured and had surgery? I missed practice. Perfection was destroyed. Just like when you broke your diet and ate the wrong thing, or overslept and didn't work out, or bought something stupid in the middle of trying to get out of debt, or looked at something you shouldn't have looked at, or lost your daily reading streak on the YouVersion Bible app. I was injured and couldn't do jiu-jitsu for more than 2 months. Then what? Then I was healthy and went back to the gym to start a new streak. But what about being perfect? I was never perfect and never going to be perfect. That's an illusion. I always planned on failing, so missing 2 months because of an injury perfectly fit my plan. I did plan on being consistent, and as soon as I could, I went back to consistent. I had to, because I had a deep why, and consistency is the essential quality. It is for you too. So don't get caught up trying to be perfect. That doesn't work for anyone, but consistency works for everyone. Chapter 6.5, Fall in Love with the Process. Want to hear some potential book titles? I want to warn you, they're going to sound boring. Here goes. Boring is the new exciting. Bore your way to the top. If you ain't boring, you ain't scoring. Bore your way to success. Bored stiff, more like bored awesome. Boring may be boring, but boring is actually a much better strategy than obsessing about results. Why? Because focusing on results is the downfall of people who want to be consistent. Yes, goals are sexy, but obsessing about them causes inconsistency. So instead, we're going to fall in love with the process. The process may seem boring, but it's not. It's going to change your life. Too many of us obsess about the goal. I've got to lose 20 pounds. I need to pay off all my credit cards. I've got to read through the whole Bible. We have this win we're going after. We know it will feel amazing to achieve it. The problem is that day may be far off. Losing 20 pounds might take you 6 months. Paying off your credit card could take 2 years. Reading through the Bible might take a whole year. That's not a bad thing, but if you're obsessed with a goal, it'll feel like it's taking you forever. If you're focused on your win, every day you still haven't achieved it, it might feel like you're losing. But if you fall in love with the process, you can win every day. Isn't that cool? It often takes time before you see the results of consistency. You do the right thing for a few weeks or months, but you still feel out of shape, haven't paid much off your debt, or haven't reignited those honeymoon feelings with your spouse. That's okay. Success is not when you hit the goal in the future. You're successful when you do what you need to do today. This is another weakness that's typical of New Year's resolutions. Get a promotion or lose 30 pounds sounds great, but they're goals. How are you going to achieve the goals? What you need is a process. Process precedes progress. If you fall in love with the process, the results will follow. As you work your plan and see some progress, you'll want to do it consistently every day. And if you do it consistently, you'll reach your goal. If instead you fall in love with a goal, every day you don't achieve your goal, you'll feel like a failure. Eventually, you'll get frustrated and quit, never reaching your desired result. Remember this, consistency isn't an event, It's a process. When I roll with my boys, that's what we jiu-jitsu types call what we do, rolling. My win isn't the next belt. That's likely 2 years away. My win is when I show up. I love getting to do jiu-jitsu with my sons every day possible. Because of that, I'm consistent. Because I'm consistent, I make progress. Because I make progress, I'll get the next belt. And because I'm making progress and going to the next belt, that Bobcat better watch his back. If you think I'm kidding, check out the article about a Brazilian jiu-jitsu trained jogger who choked out a mountain lion to save his own life. True story. Well, I hope you enjoyed that portion from the book Think Ahead. If you'd like to hear more, you can get your copy of Think Ahead in an audio version, or you can get a hardback on Amazon or wherever you buy your books. If you'd like to try for a free copy, for those of you in our YouTube community, if you're not on YouTube, you can jump on over to YouTube, and we're giving away 5 copies of the book Think Ahead. Just jump onto YouTube and type in the comment section, I want to think ahead. I want to think ahead. A great way to think ahead is to get the Leader Guide. If you're not getting the Leader Guide, it's packed with valuable information to help you in your leadership. Go to life.church/leadership podcast, get the Leader Guide. If this content is valuable to you, it would mean the world to me if you would share about it and invite others to be a part of our community. Also, you can write a review or hit subscribe wherever you hear this content. I want to help you get better. And the good news is, you are getting better in your leadership, and we know that everyone wins when the leader gets better.
Thank you.